Well, hello, my name is Jim Royal. I am a huge Beatles and Elvis Presley fan and basically classic rock in general, so if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. At the end of the video, if you could do a thumbs up, that's always most appreciated, and feel free to leave comments. I always enjoy reading them, and I do my best to try to respond in a timely manner. Today what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about a long out-of-print album from the Beatles. This is a collection, previously released material. It's a double album and it's called Love Songs. And it was originally released back on Capitol here in the States, in the US, back in October of 1977. And then it was released on Parlophone in the UK back in November of that year. What had happened was this is basically a nice collection of love songs from the Beatles. Okay, what they had done the prior year is they put out something called Rock and Roll Music, was a collection of their heavier songs, and that was released June of 1976. So the story behind this one is it has a similar story as Rock and Roll Music. The Capitol had asked George Martin, the Beatle producer, to help with this package and with the songs. He decided to rework the mixing of the songs, because the problem with what they were dealing with is that they were dealing with songs that go back to 1962. This had been 15 years later from that, when he was working on these albums. And technology had changed. State-of-the-art technology was much better than it had been before. And stereo was king now. And so what they had to do is they had these two-track recordings originally on some of these earlier songs, and mono, and they had to then convert some of them into stereo. Some of these songs, like from Rubber Soul, while they may be stereo, they are mixed in narrow stereo. And then there are 3 songs on here that were B-sides, like This Boy, Yes It Is, and what was the other one? P.S. I Love You, which what they did with what he did with these is he did this artificial stereo where they were mono, and he turned them into artificial stereo. It was a process through Capitol called Duphonic. So there was some controversy with that, with people that were really into it. The other thing that happened was he, I don't know, by mistake, I don't know, but the channels, they said that the left and the right channels were different. And what I mean by that, what you hear in the left speaker and the right, what you normally associate with these recordings, that it was reversed. Okay, so anyway, this album was an album that it was I would call it a slow and steady seller. It didn't do quite as well as the Rock and Roll Music album, but I thought it did well. In fact, by the time that the title was deleted in the late 80s, it ended up selling 3 million copies. I don't think that's that bad. Alright, so let me show you this. When this, the original copies make it look like this is almost like a family photo album, and this is almost like leather bound. It's not, but it's made to look like that, and I like the glossy and the gold. It just looks very classy. And then you have songs on the back here listed, which I thought was really nice. And let me open it up and show you the gatefold. Okay, this is a picture from photographer Richard Avedon, and this was taken originally for Look magazine back in 1967. And I just think it's a real classy picture here. You got that, and then also, which was pretty nice, is you got a lyric book. You got a little booklet, and this is almost like parchment paper, or made to look like it. And I like the Capitol right in the back. And you have calligraphy. in here. You have basically very beautifully handwritten lyrics to each of the songs, which I thought was done very tastefully. Really like that. Just done real well. You know, it looks like they took some care on the package. And then I'm going to show you the vinyl here. This album ended up going up to number 24 on the charts here in America. It didn't do as well, like I said, but over time I thought it was a success. Okay, and then this vinyl, I really like the look of this vinyl. It just looks so cool. Let's make sure you got it. So you got that photo again. Okay. All right, so let me tell you what's on it. You know, the whole thing with this is it doesn't have every single song, okay? You know, the Beatles were known for a lot of love songs. So, but it's a nice collection for what it is. It's not chronological order either. It just has a really nice flow. So there's 25 songs on this. It's a double album. It clocks in a little over 59 minutes. So let's see. It starts out with Yesterday, I'll Follow the Sun, I Need You, Girl, In My Life, Words of Love, Here, There, and Everywhere, Something, And I Love Her, If I Fell, I'll Be Back, Tell Me What You See, It's Only Love, Michelle, Yes It Is, You're Going to Lose That Girl, Every Little Thing, For No One, She's Leaving Home, The Long and Winding Road, This Boy, Norwegian Wood, This Bird Has Flown, You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, I Will, and then P.S. I Love You. And this is the cassette. Now, when I was a boy growing up in the early 80s, starting to get Beatles music, my family would buy cassettes. Though I will say that this is, let me make sure you can see it. This is not something I had at the time. And I love those white cassettes that they had and the Capitol. Pretty nice. And really with this cassettes, there's not much to it. But I ended up buying it just because I wanted to have it on cassette. I just thought it was cool. I thought, you know, I started the collection that way, let's finish it. So, and of course these, you know, there's nothing in here. You know, there was no booklet or anything with that. All right. So let me tell you, I'll put that back there. We got that. There was going to be a single that was going to be released from this. And just like rock and roll had one with Got to Get You Into My Life, that went up to number 7. And, you know, for the rock and roll music album here in the U.S., and then they had back in the USSR, in the UK, going up to number 19. They were going to release the single Girl. And that's a beautiful, wonderful John Lennon tune from Rubber Soul from '65. I thought that would have been perfect for this. And then the B-side was going to be You're Gonna Lose That Girl, which was another John Penn number, and that was from Rubber Soul. I'm sorry, that was from Help in 1965. So would have been a really nice single. They actually, supposedly what I read, they printed the sleeves and everything, and the sleeves look just like the album cover, except they have the girl up at the top. And I actually, what I understand is they only printed the sleeves for it. And that there were no 45s, there were no singles. They decided just to scrap it. I'm not exactly sure as to the true reason, but they did actually print the sleeves. And I went on eBay and I found one. I don't know if it was legit, that's the thing. They were asking for $30 for it, and I'm like, I don't know if this is an original one or if this is a counterfeit bootleg. So I decided to pass at the time. But I have seen people that have had the singles. And at one time, this album was also available on yellow vinyl, not just black, but yellow, and I thought that's cool. And I did see someone show that they had a yellow single of Girl, which I thought was pretty cool. Now, there is something that I read. There were promotional copies that were actually printed up of the Girl single. And they had Girl, the stereo version, on one side, and then on the B side they had Girl in mono. Okay? So there is a little bit of controversy here, and I'm going to show this to you as far as the cover goes. Now let's take a look at this picture. This will be easier to look at. Okay, in the original photo, you have, where you have Paul right here, you actually had Ringo, and then you had Paul back there. And as you can see, you've got Paul right up there with John. And I don't really think it's that big of a deal. You know, all of the Beatles were important to the band. Every member played a big part in that band. That was their success, the four of them. It wasn't just one or two, it was all of them. All right? But I kind of think in this case, the fact that most of these songs that were written were Lennon-McCartney, the Lennon-McCartney members partnership, and they were also the principal singers, they were the lead vocalists, that I don't think it's a big deal having him up front. I really don't. And I just think it was tastefully done. I thought it was just really nice. So that's what they did for modifying that. I wanted to show you something too. This is kind of, I think of it as a little rarity. I picked this up here and I paid under $20 for it. This is a Bulgarian version of this album. And this is a little flimsier, I won't say paper, but much thinner than, you know, the harder stock that you have there. Okay? And there's no fancy booklet with it. That's true. But you got the picture. And I think that the reason that I also bought it is I don't have anything that has any foreign language on it like this one does. This is a Bulgarian copy, like I said, so you have the English here. And I just thought, you know, this is really kind of a nice collectible, I think. I can't make it out. Bankathon? It's hard for me to say. I don't know. It's a Bulgarian label, and it says Parlophone on it too. Let's see if you can see that. But this was, from research that I did, this is circa 1985, 1986, around that period. Okay? And then the other thing I really thought was nice was this label. This is kind of a cool thing, just looking at something different. Okay? So, you know, the reason why I wanted to review this was because, you know, this is a rare Beatle album. You know, it's no longer made. It's been out of print for 30 years, and I thought that Beatle fans would appreciate it. I know when I was first buying Beatle music, I skipped it because I thought, well, you know, this is all previously released material. I already have it. I don't need to buy it. And then I thought, you know what? I think it would be nice. It's a nice little collectible to have for a Beatle fan, and it's a little different playlist, and it's just something special. So that's why I wanted to talk about it today. Well, I wanted to thank you very much for watching my video, and you have a good day, okay? All right, bye.